Been up for a couple of hours thinking about what I wanted to talk to you guys about and how I wanted to drop truth to you guys based on the idea of maladministration. Now, I'll tell you that there are a lot of people in this world who have had issues with what happened on November 3rd, 2020. And many attorneys have been hired and have been asked how to get remedy, how to fix things for the people. And I want to tell you that ever since 1938, you can look up the New Deal. You can see that there were many administrative agencies that were created, which give attorneys a lot more business because there's a lot more conflicts. And these administrative agencies were allowed to be able to enforce different administrative procedures and statutes. And they got to the point where they started to force the people. Now, what's deep is if you understand the difference between an administrative process and a judicial process, the judicial process is going to deal with wrong and right. The administrative process is going to deal with statutory bylaws. It's going to deal with the administrative functions of an entity or agency. And you don't have to be wrong in order to have a judgment in an administrative tribunal placed against you. So, in other words, the administration is just simply how you deal with certain issues, and it's based on policy. So, if you have a battle and you have administrative bylaws, your policy that you are going to have to follow is the administrative bylaws. In a judicial situation, if someone has done wrong or harmed someone, people can have jurisdiction over you because of you harming them. And because people gave authority to the government to carry out and handle their business, the government can gain jurisdiction over you when you harm someone. Now, let's take this a little bit deeper. When it came to all the lawsuits that came out by Trump, his attorneys, many in Arizona and different states, there was a word that you heard people say that started with an F. And everybody wanted to prove that there was this big, huge amount of, some people call it frizzod, so they don't say the word and YouTube bans them. But there was this great amount of fraud and that they wanted to talk about. The only problem is this, and I'll explain to you why, even with Mike Lindell, who talked about PCAPs and these different people who want to force you into fraud. When you deal with fraud, it makes a lot of money for attorneys. Let me see if I can find my law book. When you deal with the attorneys, there's a lot of conflict that they enjoy and they wish for you to keep going. And this is how they make their money. So if there's no conflict, the attorneys usually will not make money, or not in a powerful way, unless they're like just consulting you, which isn't the biggest place to make cash. So for those of us who want to save nations, we have to think a little bit differently, because if the premise starts out that you cannot fix anything unless you can prove that there was fraud, then the only way that you can get remedy is to have a judge in a court tell that you were harmed based on the evidence you give him proving that you were harmed, and you have to know who did it. Now, if you don't know who did it, it's very difficult to say that someone committed fraud against you and explain in detail as a first-hand witness what happened. So if you say, I know that somebody committed a fraud somewhere in America, and I need you to go into everybody's houses and investigate their houses to find out who did it, right? The court doesn't have the power to investigate everybody, enter into their homes without permission, just because somebody thinks something happened. So as you can see, this is a failing situation and a failing argument. because you can't correct anything unless you know who did wrong. So you give the court somebody to grab onto and pull into their jurisdiction and wage an attack against them. You as one of the people wage an attack against them for what they did. Now, so this idea of saying that there's fraud everywhere just pushes everybody to chase after things that are not easily accomplished or attained. So you start off the premise that you have to prove fraud to stop the bad government actors who didn't follow the law. To me, that's crazy. So I'll show you guys what Josh and I did 2 years ago. 2 years ago. We used a special process that would allow the government to cover up everything that they did wrong, which we didn't care about what they did wrong. We just wanted to deal with the fact that they were not acting in accordance with good government and following what would be good administration. The opposite of that is mal. Mal has the same root as malo in Spanish. Malo in Spanish means bad. So maladministration just means bad administration. So the premise that we start with is miles ahead of what the attorneys start with. The attorney says, we have to prove fraud to deal with this. We have to show that there was fraud and enough fraud to change things to be able to make a difference. That's utterly dumb. Because it's just like if you own a company. And I'm going to read this to you real quick. Definition of fraud from Black's Law 5. An intentional, please forgive me, an intentional perversion of truth for the purpose of inducing another in reliance upon it to part with some valuable thing belonging to him or to surrender a legal right. A false representation of a matter of fact, whether by words or by conduct, by false or misleading allegations, or by concealment of that which should have been disclosed, which deceives and is intended to deceive another. Notice that intended to deceive. See, you can't tell somebody's intent if you don't know who did it. And if you don't have proof they did it because you didn't see them, it's very difficult. So that he shall act upon it in his legal injury. Any kind of artifice employed by one person to deceive another. Now watch this. This is going to be deep. Elements of a cause of action for fraud include false representation. So you got to know that they purposely did something false. So when you look at the arguments, as much as Lindell has done around the nation with putting his own money on the line, his attorneys are deceiving him because he can't prove who did what. He doesn't have a name. He doesn't have a picture that he can show. When he talked about the PCAPs, he doesn't have anything that he can show that was not collected the wrong way that can get to the goal that he wants. So he's being misled, and it kind of sucks. But it is what it is. Fraud includes false representation of a present or past fact made by defendant. Now watch this. Action in reliance thereupon by plaintiff and damage resulting to plaintiff from such misrepresentation. So they have to be able to show who the freak misrepresented something to us that made us do something bad. And you can't just use generalization. Well, we know that they did this, and we can see from a machine they did this, but we don't know who did this. We don't know how they did this. We just saying they did this, and we got all the evidence of it, and we never show it. That doesn't get you to the position where you want to be. Now, the thing is, we use something different. We understand that all governments are political bodies belonging to the people. Now, it's kind of like if you have your own business, right? If you have a business, and in your business you say, I want to make sure that everything has been followed in the business. And you go to the office and you see all your employees and you say, well, I need to understand if you guys are handling business here. And then the employees say, well, you know what? If you want to look into your business and you want to fix it and make sure everything is pure and right, you need to go to the arbitration association inside of the business, and you need to give us, we need to give you permission to look at your own business and your own affairs. Because you own the business and you control all the affairs of the entity, you don't have an obligation or a duty to gain permission when you are correcting your staff, your workers, or just dealing with the daily functions of the business. So this is where it has been hidden from the people, the power of maladministration, and it is exactly what we've been using for over 2 years to build cases with thousands and thousands of documents that would cause for any individual who decided to not follow to be bound when it comes to the people correcting government and taking back government, or the government getting smart enough to realize what we did and starting to take action. Like, you see, it seems like Branovich magically wants to prosecute when it comes to Katie Hobbs. All this time, almost 200 days, nothing, silence. And in another state, there's about to be a whole bunch of fire coming. In Colorado, there's going to be a whole bunch of fire coming. And in many other places, there's smoke coming that I know about that I can't talk about right now, and a few others know about that we can't talk about right now. But when you control the entity, you actually have the power to change it at will. Now, the word maladministration from Black's Law 5 is what I'm going to give you next. It says, maladministration. This term is used interchangeably with misadministration, and both words mean wrong administration. So when you understand this, you're not having a situation where you are trying to prove somebody's committing fraud. You realize that you control the government as the people. They work for you. And because they work for you, when you see them not administering good justice and taking care of your business properly, you have the ability to correct them because of maladministration or the danger of in any state. Now, when you understand that elections are a political situation, so you deal with how the elections happen usually in the legislature, but all power given to the legislature came originally from the people and was based on their will only. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to a state constitution so you can see this idea of government being based on the people's will only, and then I'm going to ask you a simple question. So let's delve in and look at it. Check out and see. So to take your thinking to the next level, I'm going to present to you one of the what I call love letters, the Bill of Rights of Missouri, that your forefathers wrote to you in order to teach you how to keep good government. Now, text of section 1, I want you to understand this, that all power is vested in and derived from the people. So every single power exercised by your government, if it's police having weapons that would be used by the military, if the police have the ability to make or use discretion when they travel down the road, if the government has the power to be immune to certain attacks or things, right? All of these things are powers that could only be granted in your state constitutions, which means the people delegated the authority to the government. It came from them. It was originally in them, because you cannot give what you do not have to give. So let's look and learn. If we look at right after where it says originates from the people, it says something that's really important that no government official or attorney would want to openly tell you if they're not right. And it says this: is founded upon their will only. Now the question we have to ask is, whose will only? And we're going to find that it's from the people's will only. Now, why would your forefathers have to tell you that the government powers and authorities that are given originates from the people and is founded only on your will? See, your forefathers wanted you to understand that the will of the government officials means nothing. So we got people who are trying to trick us today. We got Boyer in Arizona. We got some other people who say, well, I'm the government official and you elected me to come in here. And if you don't like what I do, then you can do something about it every 4 years. But right now I'm in charge and I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican and I'm going to do whatever I want to do because I'm in office and you chose me to pick for you. That is a lie. From the pit of hell, and your forefathers would be rolling over in their graves. And I will not sit here and allow you to believe that the government ever at any time were elected to do things based on their own will. They were chosen to do things based on, notice it says here, and is instituted solely, that means only, for the good of the whole. Their whole purpose is to serve and protect your general welfare. Now, if you don't believe me, let's just look and see. Section 2, that all, not just Missouri, all constitutional government is intended to promote the general welfare of the people. So they're here to protect you, serve you, make sure they protect your rights, liberty, and life, never interfere with your ability to move forward. And I'm going to show you how they've done this wrong and how you have the power to fix it. That all persons have a natural right to life, liberty. You can go where you want to go to church if you want to, not be on lockdown. Come on, y'all. The pursuit of happiness. You get to go be happy. If they tell you you can't go outside, you got to wear a mask, you got to do this. They're interfering with your happiness. But let's go deeper. And the enjoyment of the gains, be able to make wealth, commerce of their own industry. You should be able to do business and sell your services and get gain. That all persons are created equal and are entitled to equal rights and opportunity under the law. That to give security to these things, the only purpose of the freaking government, to give security to these things is the principal office of government. That's the only reason they're here. They're not here to vote for their party. See, they're playing this, Republican, Democrat, left versus right. I can't do my job because the Democrats won't pass stuff with me. No. If they won't do their job, get together and impeach. Remove them. We got government officials who won't address the issues of other government officials because they're friends. That day will end. Watch this. And now watch this. This is going to be simple, plain things that the law world ain't going to tell you. And that when government does not confer this security, it fails in its chief design. It's not working correctly. It's wrong administration. So when they don't do right with your elections, when they don't do right with your health, when they block you from seeing your relatives in hospitals, when they start doing special programs where you're stealing your kids out of hospitals or locking you down in hospitals or doing side deals to make money off of COVID or enriching themselves off of doing contracts with other entities when they already have a contract with you as the people, it is what is called maladministration. Should we be going to any judge? Now, Trump's attorneys didn't know this. Mike Lindell's attorneys don't know this. A lot of the big name people around the nation don't know this, and they refuse to tell you. There's a lot of big name people who would never have me on their show, who would never talk to me, and I'm at the point now I don't care to talk to them because God has given us the people, and the people are going to do the correcting, and we're going to just let the other people who were greedy and trying to hide the truth and, the groups of people who are doing wrong, we're going to just let them be where they are. But look at text of section 3. This is going to explain your power to correct everything that is wrong. Everything right now. Watch this. Powers of the people over internal affairs. Did they tell you that you control the internal government? Sounds crazy, huh? Constitution and, not just the Constitution and form of government. Watch this. The people of this state have the inherent, it's a God-given right that every single man has across the Republican states, which is all of them. So, that means only and exclusive without any other being able to block you. Inherent, sole, and exclusive right to regulate the internal government and police thereof. That word police comes from policy. So guys, here's what I want you to see. If you have the power to regulate government, why are you letting dirty attorneys and silly clowns in different parties tell you what you cannot do because a judge didn't say so. A judge has no power over this because you have the inherent sole and exclusive right, and this is why they don't tell you. So we've spent 2 years making cases, sending out thousands of notices and affidavits against them because of one reason. Because we understand that what they're doing is the literal definition of maladministration and in some cases treason. And all you need is, I'll show you, 2 pieces of documentation or testimonies to prosecute somebody for treason. I know that treason hasn't been prosecuted often, but that's because the people didn't know they were supposed to regulate. The people actually hate corruption, but they deal with it because they thought they had no choice. But what do the people have the right to do? Let me show you guys. Watch this. And to alter. You want to change the way elections go and get rid of the dumb machines? You don't need permission. You don't need a court. You don't need them to decide for you if it was okay or not. It says you have the right to alter and abolish their constitution and form of government whenever. Not every 4 years, not every 2 years, not primarying people to death. Simply whenever they may deem it necessary to their safety and happiness. So when these people are making arguments, we got to prove fraud to stop them from hurting us. We need you to come follow us because we're going to prove all this fraud and we're going to stretch you out over 2 years and make you get tired and you're going to give up on your energy and you're going to fall apart and you're going to just say there's no hope or when is something going to happen? Listen, whenever they, the people, they may deem it necessary to their safety and happiness. Are you safe right now? Are you happy right now? Provided such change be not repugnant to the Constitution of the United States. So guys, the Constitution of the United States was also created by the people and can be changed at the will of the people. Also, the United States Constitution only speaks about a few things. If you look at the 9th and 10th Amendment, you're going to realize, oh my gosh, the people have all control, and anytime that the Constitution does not grant a certain authority, right, or prohibit something, right, it goes back to the states and it goes back to the people. So the states or the people. So the biggest and highest power is the people. We have the power to change it. When you see government say, well, there's nothing you could do in the states or the government can do. Yeah, that's because we didn't write a permission slip to tell you to do something, but that never got rid of our power to do something. So let's go deeper. I'm going to show you guys how we went after these government servants 2 years ago and already knew the way to control every single thing that happened and to make a punishment for not following the people, which was worse than the punishment of cheating the people. Let's watch. Now, I know we hear all these people talking about 4D chess. I don't play chess, but if I played chess, it would probably be like 14D by God because I understand wisdom and discretion and knowledge and wisdom when it comes to the law and application and building the people to understand their power. So what I want you guys to be a witness to is we sent that notice out to Trump. Bill Barr confirmed it the other night. 2 weeks ago when he told that Trump said that there was people who said we could seize. See, the issue is that Bill Barr said there was not probable cause, but we had affidavits and notices that was evidence that was done correctly that we sent to Rudy Giuliani. We sent it through, I think, Sidney Powell's side and Giuliani's side. Giuliani's side somehow happened to get stifled and blocked a little bit to the point that Sidney Powell didn't get to receive the documents from Giuliani from what we hear, which is really strange. But those affidavits, somebody swearing under penalty of perjury that something wrong happened to them across the nation with the correct form, with a jurat, from a notary, is them being sworn in already. We don't have to wait for a judge to hear the case. The case is already heard. The other side doesn't deny, so the court must accept it. That's some secret knowledge right there if y'all listening. So we did the process correctly and ordered Trump to take the stuff. And Trump is proven now. You can see from what Bill Barr said. Trump went to Bill Barr in Bill Barr's testimony saying there's some people telling us we can seize the machines. So Trump didn't understand his power well enough and got deceived by attorneys, as you guys can see. I think you guys are much more wise when it comes to just understanding simple things. I don't think you guys trust in attorneys to tell us the truth about our rights after you see what they did to Trump, how they lied to him and did not give him full knowledge of the law. They omitted a lot. We see that Barr told him, there's no way, we don't have probable cause. You can't do that. It will not happen. But then I just showed you guys that Barr admitted the other night that, yes, there was a collusion between the media, the government, the FBI. Yeah, they just lied, and they knew that they were blocking the people's ability to make a good decision. That's what you call maladministration. See, from now on, we're not going to allow these guys to just lie and do things wrong and say, well, politicians lie. Why the freak would you have employees that you know lie and just deal with it and say, well, that's just how they do? So you're going to let them run our nation. You're going to let them go over to other nations, take their resources, punish them, kill people, and do all types of bad stuff. You got agents in our state arresting people for telling the truth. Poor woman in Colorado came out telling that she knew things were wrong and she was a whistleblower, and then they making an order for her arrest, but they won't arrest the other guys acting bad. This is a shame, guys. If we're going to sit here and allow our puppies to go out and bite people and won't put a freaking leash on them, we are responsible. How long are we going to allow these clowns to keep punishing people, disrespecting people, and harming people with our power and in our courts that belong to us before we correct the issue? So I wanted today to give you guys real life understanding of maladministration, why we used it, how we started this 2 years ago, sent thousands of affidavits to different government officials, laughing, knowing, oh yeah, you can love us and do right and hear the truth, or you can ignore us and it'll just be evidence against you. No big deal. You can have it either way you want it. I'm not mad either way, because I know that we are going to take the time out, and we have already, to teach the people in mass their power and what it is that they can do. And now the people know the nation is flipping, things are turning, and we're going to be the judges of who is going to be punished or not. You're going to see a big flip. If you guys stand up right now, you could take your whole nation back. You don't like these gas prices. You don't like that they shut down your pipeline. You don't like that they try to force things into your arm. You don't like that they want you to get passports to go around in your own land. How the freak does the police travel on the streets and go from area to area? How does the government officials travel all the way through the state without being hindered? How are they doing that? The way they do it is because they got the power to do it from you. You created their offices and seats. Everything they do, you granted the authority for them to do. And they're trying to limit you. It's backwards. You are supposed to regulate them, but they're regulating you. Guys, we got to be more wise, and it's time for us to knock this out of the ballpark. This weekend, we are going to do, this Saturday, a webinar where we're going to in detail teach the trap and the plan that we put together, how to use it to destroy government tyranny across the nation in every state by teaching maladministration, which is the corruption eraser. Many people know that we have webinars every once in a while. They are private associations that we come together in, safe places to study. Trolls don't pay money to have memberships or whatever, so they don't come. And we have 3 hours. A lot of times it ends up being 5 hours of highly intellectual, detailed, step-by-step, fundamental study of the real law that has never been taught in one place in America. And people come out, take action immediately, and governments just for some reason seem to stop mandating them or forcing them. And, you know, they don't have to get a shot, and they don't have to do this and have to do that. And I don't know why. It's thousands of coincidences, I guess. But we've been able to have much success. So if you are interested, please join us at www.restoremyrepublic.com. And you can get more information. We will send out a link. The memberships are only $50 for that day. Of course, if you're in the house, your whole household can see it. But it's a very blessed and amazing opportunity to be able to learn, and the government is not able to interfere with our private association. So you'll learn a ton. So anyway, for all of you who've been hearing this crazy stuff by attorneys that you got to prove fraud, you got to go to court to make a change, you can change your constitution and government at will, and they're tricking you. I think you guys are tired enough to fix it. If your forefathers fixed prohibition with 180,000 people and they got tired, I'm pretty sure you're tired of this bull. So if you're tired of it, let me know. If you hate the garbage that they've been doing, let me know. If you want real remedy, say something in the comments. Give us some good words. Please like and subscribe, guys. Let's get these subscribers up. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the algorithms moving so we can get more people seeing this. Our numbers are much greater. We are shadow banned in such a powerful way. It's unbelievable. But people are still seeing. They just don't want you to see the numbers. We have actually had it where we've had secondary devices that actually count the number of people on the videos and links, people come in on the links, and we've actually seen times where there's 2 to 4 times more people watching than the actual YouTube system tells us. So let's kick some butt, y'all. You got power over the nation. You can change things. You are not hopeless. You are not a victim. You are victorious by God if you'll trust in him. Let's make it happen, y'all. Let's rock and roll. I love y'all. Y'all stay out of trouble. Peace.